Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on the Three Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at 3manblitz. Visit us at www.3manblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, and don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Three Man Blitz. I'm your boy Andrew here with Jeremy and Queasy. Say what's up, guys.
What's good?
What's up? All right, so a lot of you guys, what is it? I don't know the statistic. Jeremy was throwing numbers earlier. He said like 90%. So we're going to roll that. Like 90% of y'all don't even know about IDP. Y'all don't know what it is. Play with it. Y'all don't mess with it. Y'all like that team defense stuff. That is for babies. Grow up.
Rookies.
And we're going to tell you about the top IDP candidates so you can maybe talk to your league commissioner. Or if you are the league commissioner, maybe you can jump on this. But anyway, before we get started, let's take a shot or crack a cold one, whatever you guys want to do.
I got to tell Chateau.
Hertford.
Chatas.
Yeah, we got the shot, so we go.
All right, boys, go for three.
Go for three.
Go for three.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That was good. Come on.
All right, who wants to go first? Queasy, fire us off. Give us an IDP candidate.
I have, since I'm a Falcon fan, and I love my guy, and I always have him every year, except this year so far, Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal. There's ups and downs about him. Great player. Always leads in tackles, covers the secondary very well, but he's very injury prone. This year he's out so far. They're going to take it slow with him at the beginning of this training camp. But if he's up and going and rolling, you can't lose with having him on your team. Whenever he's playing, he's knocking down people.
Yeah, Keanu Neal always seems to be like one of the top safeties, and I always look at you sideways when I see you. You start seeing defense go. I'm like, when's Queasy taking Keanu Neal? It's probably pretty quick, and he always performs for you.
Yeah, man, always does great. Now that's why. I enjoy him, but again, he's very injury prone. So I think he will be. I will probably snatch him up in another league I'm going to be in, so I can try to get him soon.
He's alluding to.
I feel like you're looking at us. I feel like you're looking at me and Jeremy, asking us not to take him.
No,
like, don't steal him from me this time.
Do what you do.
I got you. I got you, bro. Why. I like Keanu Neal, and the thing about Keanu Neal with Queasy is, you guys know in Mulan how she walks around with, and she got the little lucky cricket she carries around with her. Everybody has that fantasy player, and Keanu Neal is Queasy's lucky cricket. He has to have his lucky cricket.
I've never heard of that before.
Did you just seriously make a Mulan reference?
Man, I got kids, bro. I got kids. I know what's up. I know what's up with them lucky crickets. That's Queasy's lucky cricket. You got to have your lucky cricket.
Yeah, I never seen Mulan before, man.
Queasy, we gotta educate you, bro.
I gotta get Disney streaming now, I guess.
Get Disney Plus. All right, Jeremy, give us a guy.
Yeah. All right. So this is when you're playing an IDP league. This is the guy that's going to go. It should go as the first one off the board when it comes to defense, and that's Darius Leonard, linebacker for the Colts. So, like past 2 seasons, Darius Leonard's been a straight beast. He gets great volume tackles. He'll get a good moderate amount of sacks, but what you want him for is his consistency and his volume tackle. So you don't overthink it. There's a lot of good linebackers. Since we're trying to educate some people, linebackers are like your quarterbacks on defense. They're going to get you the most points. And it's relatively deep, but don't overthink it. Like I said, take Darius Leonard with a smile on your face, knowing you've got the best linebacker that's going to get you the most points.
I think a lot of people will sleep on this guy. He's a quiet guy. He's on a relatively quiet team. That make any kind of sense?
Yeah.
But when you think about defense, you don't think about him. But this guy will tackle everybody on the field, even his own players. It don't matter.
They got the ball. He's taking them down.
he's a monster out there on the field. But again, he doesn't have the name presence. As far as I know, the name presence of a lot of these other guys who get tackles and sacks and yada yada. But this guy is like in the top 3, if not number one.
Number one, yeah.
Of tackling.
He's starting to get there, but yeah, he's still not as popular as like your Bobby Wagner's.
Exactly.
Guys that have been around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think he's only played for 2 years, so.
I mean, staying on the same page with the linebackers, though, another guy who's really only had 2 years kind of busting out the gate was Corey Littleton. And he was my linebacker pick. I really, really like Corey Littleton. He had, his 2019 stats, which he's now playing for the Raiders. He's not playing for the Rams anymore. He started 16 games, of course. He had 3.5 sacks, 134 tackles, 8 solo, 56 assisted tackles, and 6 tackles for loss and 2 interceptions. So dude's like a straight freaking beast. And he's another one of these guys who doesn't get a lot of the name recognition. But he's another guy you got to take really high. You got to take him quick. He'll get gone.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if you're one of these guys that already know about IDP leagues and you play them, bravo to you, first of all. Second of all, you know about Corey Littleton mostly. You know, these guys that don't play him, you guys out there, you might not know him. But the fact that he just left the Rams and he's now on the Raiders, I think just to stock up for Corey Littleton. He is just like Darius Leonard. You know, he's a tackling machine, and he's all over the field. Definitely good for the Raiders. And, you know, let's be honest, the defense is probably going to be on the field quite a bit for the Raiders.
Yep.
What can you say?
What can I say, man?
Well, in the name of Tom, Jets, let's keep moving. Queasy, who you got? Another guy.
I also have Myles Garrett with his helmet.
On or off?
You see, he's going to have I want to say it's a comeback year, but he's known to get his sacks, his tackles, does very well on the field, very versatile, very fast, very, very tough. But he had a rough last year because he got his suspension, but the suspension is lifted now. So he will come back with a clean slate and be a lot smarter on the field. So he will be on the field, I'm sure, this whole season. But he is with the Browns, which could be a good thing because, again, as you mentioned, I think the defense will be on the field a lot more being on the Browns.
And let's be honest, the Browns' defense the past couple of seasons hasn't been terrible. Their offense just hasn't put up the numbers to win the game. I mean, the defense has kind of held them in games a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know. Jeremy, you got a guy?
Yeah. I got guys, man. Come on.
I got guys.
So sticking with the line, you know, I'm going to take Nick Bosa, defensive end for the Niners. So Nick Bosa, you know, he bust on the scene last year as a rookie and really made a lot of noise. He had something to the tune of like 9 sacks. I think it was around 50 tackles.
8 of them were for Baker Mayfield, right?
Probably.
That game was rough.
But if you even watched one game with Nick Bosa, you can see that there's a lot of reason that you'll want him on your team. I mean, he's got a high motor, he never stops, and he's incredibly aggressive. The only downside I would see with Nick Bosa is that he's on the 49ers, and they've got a lot of pass rushing weapons. But he'll definitely get his, and you can get him a little bit later when you're targeting your defensive lineman. So I would look for him to go, pretty high when you're starting to do your ends. But take Nick Bosa and reap the rewards.
You can't lose with him, man.
Yeah, he's a beast. And if you don't know about him, just go watch. Just put a clip on, a highlight reel from YouTube or whatever, and watch, and you'll want him.
And like Jeremy's talking, you can take him a little bit later because you're going to have my next pick going ahead of him. I've got Danielle Hunter of the Minnesota Vikings. And let's see.
And you should. He should go. He should go earlier.
He should go higher. His 2019, of course, he's a defensive end. I think he kind of switches from defensive end to linebacker, kind of playing that star position. But he had 70 tackles last season, 52 solo, 18 assisted, 15 tackles for loss. Wow. And the year before, he had 21 tackles for loss. That's very impressive. And check this out. 2018 and 2019, Danielle Hunter had 14.5 sacks.
14.5.
That is insane.
And he's young.
Yeah, he's 25. He's 26 this year.
And if you're looking for consistency, which is what I really love with fantasy, you always want to be able to depend on somebody when they're in your starting lineup. I mean, that is consistent, and it's consistently awesome. 14.5 a year.
Yes.
That's great. That's almost one a game, you know?
Pretty much.
pretty much.
If I may speak, as we're praising the IDP, it's great. I love it, as we all love it.
Yep.
It helps to eliminate a lot of weaknesses because sometimes you don't want to run towards, or you might jump on the 5 teams that actually have a great defense, but once it's after that, you're kind of left in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
But now this helps to strengthen your team because there's individuals such as Myles Garrett on a maybe weaker defense or Khalil Mack, who may be on a weaker defense, who can actually help your team out and still help you get your championship at the end of the season.
It's like building your own custom roster. It's a good feeling
Exactly.
knowing it's almost like a better feeling when your team succeeds. To me,
absolutely. And to y'all's point, I mean, when you start watching a game, what do we do when we watch fantasy football? You're always looking for your guys, but if you're only playing offense, offensive players, you're looking to see for those games. But if you play defense too, individual defensive players, any game that's on, you've got somebody worth watching. And before you know it, you just love it. I mean, everybody I've known that poo-pooed all over the IDP leagues, and then we finally got them to play, they love it. They'll never go back to team defenses. It's like playing half of fantasy.
Exactly. Even on weaker defenses, back in my day, you know how I love Keanu Neal, but also love Rashard Jones. Who was on the Dolphins. He used to, but again, you wouldn't think of the Dolphins as a great defensive team, but he was a great defensive player. And also Kiko Alonso was back then too. He also did very well. But again, they were on weaker total defenses, but they individually did very well.
Yeah, those are good points. I think there's a lot of reasons for any of you guys watching that don't play IDP to at least try it. Try it 1 year, maybe in a league that you don't care about, that isn't for money. You're just doing it for fun with your friends, whatever. Try it. You'll like it. I guarantee you.
And let me throw out one last point, because sometimes when you're starting out brand new, you may jump out with a Richard Sherman or even an Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
but these are big names and great players, and don't get it wrong in the sense of football on the field, great players. But sometimes they don't translate into fantasy points because
you can't necessarily buy names on
quarterbacks will go away from them. Aaron Donald will get triple teamed, double teamed, and the coaches out there trying to hold him back. So, but there's a reason why because he's that good. So he may not have the numbers. He will have that one game where he'll blow up, 2 games where he'll blow up, but on the field, it doesn't translate always to what's going on fantasy football.
It's all about the stats and not necessarily about the name with IDP.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to shut down corner because nobody's throwing at them. So they're not getting interceptions. They're not getting tackles. Their stat sheet might just be nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man, that's why your safeties, I think, are more valuable than your corners, honestly, because they play zone a lot. And, man, they can be anywhere and everywhere. You can't stop these guys. And if I may, I'm actually going to roll into my next guy who is a safety. You guys don't care.
Do it.
Derwin James of the Chargers. So let me tell you about him. He got injured last season. He only played 5 games, so I'm going to go ahead and throw you his 2018 stats. When he was 22 years old, had 3.5 sacks as a safety, 105 tackles. That's insane. And let's see, where's his interceptions? 3 interceptions. That's fantastic. And that was his rookie season. This guy is in his junior season now. He's 3 years in. He's been through an injury, but he knows the system. I'm counting on him to absolutely blow up this season.
I like Derwin James.
Extremely fast. So fast.
Do you remember what his injury was by chance last year?
I want to say it was like a back injury.
Oh.
I was thinking it was a back injury.
I think he's coming back healthy, though, yeah. He's got to be coming back healthy. Yeah. So whatever it was, it don't matter. Yeah, he's a real good player. You got anything on him, Queasy? If not, I'm gonna go to my next player.
Go ahead, man. Very good player, but
all right. So
somebody snatch up.
So sticking with safeties, I've got the number one guy you should choose. Nothing against Derwin James. He could definitely be up there and probably is. The guy I would take is Budda Baker.
Okay.
For the Cardinals. Okay. Last year he had 147 tackles. 147 tackles. That's linebacker range for a safety. And he is in a contract year. So I would go ahead and scoop him up. He's gonna just tear it up for you. Buda Baker,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
See-
I've watched football for a while, and everybody always steps up during that contract year.
They got to get their money.
Especially defensive guys.
Yes.
Especially. So that's definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah, you always got to prove yourself. So, especially in a contract year.
Well, see, and the thing is, Buda Baker, he played up a lot the season before, and he had really good stats. And then last year, it was like straight up like, okay, we're officially moving you to safety. You're going to be playing out here. And I was like, man, I was going to draft him really high, but he's not going to have the stats. So, I passed up on him. Man, I quickly realized I made a mistake. Yeah, if you're looking for a good safety, he's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah.
Queasy, you got a dude to throw at us?
Bobby Wagner, of course, we mentioned his name earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's historically been great with the Seahawks. Great tackler, great IQ. The face of that defense. Almost one of the last of the what do you call it? The boom.
Legion of
Legion of Boom. But he's a great player. Great team player, all around the field. Every single tackle you see on the field, whether it's on or a run play or a pass play, you can guarantee that he's going to be there. So
yeah, he's good in coverage.
Yes,
definitely good in coverage.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner's. I mean, that dude's the man. You can't go wrong with Bobby Wagner. I mean, he's going to bring you the consistency that I love. He's got the big play potential. He can get a lot of turnovers. He's definitely laying that big hit stick. Bobby Wagner, and he's on the Seahawks, which just feels like he'll be a better linebacker.
Yeah,
exactly.
Seahawks are dangerous,
and they just boosted up their defense too with the cornerback they just got. I'm going blank on his name.
You're not talking about the rookie because he's going.
They just picked him up from Adams. I think it's from the Jets.
Oh, Jamal Adams,
Jamal Adams.
Talking about another safety, it goes pretty high in IDP. That'll be Jamal Adams.
We probably should have talked about him.
Bless you.
How many guys you gents got left? We'll divide this up real quick.
I've got one more corner.
How many you got, Queasy?
I technically got one, but I'm going to say two.
All right. Well, I got two, so I'm gonna fire off on one. Then we'll roll on to Queasy. Kyle Fuller, the first real corner I think we've actually talked about.
Yeah.
So he's been in the league for a while. His first year was 2014, so we're rolling into 2020 now. So let me give you his 2019 stats. He's 16 games, so I'm going to throw those at you. He had 3 interceptions, but the season before, actually, he had 7 interceptions. That was the year, 2018, that Chicago defense was just nasty. They were nasty, man. But he had 82 tackles last season, which was really, really good for a corner. 72 solo, 10 assisted, 1 tackle for loss. So no sacks or anything, but you're not going to see that a whole lot from a corner anyway. They're mostly dealing with a lot of coverage. But it looks like he gets thrown on a lot. But he's a good, solid tackler. He's a pretty quick guy, so he should go pretty high as far as your corners are concerned.
Definitely within the top 5, probably.
Yeah.
Queasy. Let me say I have Minka Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah, I like
to
him.
me, it was the number 1 acquisition last year during the season. He killed for the Steelers. Again, the Steelers are my second favorite team, but I think they're a great organization and they do build up their defense. Palomalu? I mean, he reminds me of him where he's all across the field, freelance and just killing everybody. So I think he will have a great season this year.
I've heard a lot of those comparisons as well, comparing him to Troy Polamalu, and I think that's quite an honor just to even be mentioned in the same breath as that fantastic player.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's high praise.
Because fantastic.
Yeah. All right, the guy I want to talk about is also a cornerback. So cornerbacks, just so you guys know, they don't usually get the kind of numbers that your safeties and linebackers will get, and they don't usually get a lot of sacks either. So you kind of want those high interceptions, or they need to be really good at if you get points for pass breakups or just tackling, obviously. But I'll speak on Marlon Humphrey, cornerback for the Ravens. This is another guy that's very versatile. He's going to move around a little bit. He came from one of my most hated colleges in Alabama. But, they're known for having their really good secondary, and he fits right in that mold, and he's fit into the Ravens real well. So expect him to have to make a lot of noise and be a good corner pickup for you.
And just a quick tip for a lot of you guys listening as far as corners are concerned, if you can get a guy that's opposite of a shutdown corner, then he's going to get thrown on a lot. And that's just a little guy you might want to look at. You might want to stash him, late in your draft and just kind of hold on to him on your bench for a couple of games to see what happens. But a lot of times those are your guys who you're going to want to take. And they'll do real well for you.
And also make sure of how your commissioner is setting up the scoring. So whether it's the tackles, sacks, such and such, you will notice it within 2 or 3 games how the ratings go, whether you need to get more linebackers, safeties, or even defensive ends, whatever it may be, depending on how your commissioner sets up your league.
Yeah, no doubt. If he's got like 10 points for a sack, which I doubt it would be like that, but if that was the case, then you need to go off and go after all the players that have a high chance of getting sacks.
Exactly.
Danielle Hunter.
Exactly.
Danielle Hunter would be
that
one.
kind of thing. Let me give my last guy, which is actually not on the team, Eric Reed. And I'm mentioning him because he did great, not that good, great for the Carolina Panthers, but yet they cut him. He's 27 years old. He still has something in the tank. So he's somebody to watch. Killed in tackling throughout the whole season. Past 2 seasons with them, correct. Past 2 seasons with them. So whatever team's going to pick him up, you need to watch him because he might be a great steal for you.
Agreed.
It's really weird that he's not been picked up already. Maybe they're just waiting till closer to the season, which we're not that far now. So,
hey,
surely soon.
Jadeveon Clowney too.
Yeah,
still out there.
Clowney's weird. He's like set a certain price tag on himself from what I've read, and if he's not going to get it, he said he's perfectly fine with sitting out the season.
I thought he got picked up by somebody.
No, not yet. I keep hearing Titans like a lot.
Yeah, I think I did. What's Titans?
Yeah, and
he just hasn't came to the camp or whatever.
As far as I know, that's not happened just yet. I know he's been there, or at least in talks with them quite a bit.
Okay.
My last guy that I've got to throw at you guys, it's a defensive tackle. We haven't talked about any of them yet, but I think he's a name worth mentioning. He's pretty young. Jonathan Allen for the Washington football team.
It's so weird to say it that way.
I hate it. So he had 46 solo tackles last season, 6 sacks. He was very aggressive. He's pretty young too. If you're like in a dynasty league, he's a guy you want to go ahead and grab up. 7 tackles for loss. I mean, just a machine. He's a real quiet guy. You don't hear his name called a whole lot, but he's down there putting in the work. And it'll pay you fantasy dividends to kind of sit and if you can let him fall to you to do that.
It's kind of how it goes with defensive tackles too. Like, so if you guys haven't been playing, obviously IDP defensive tackles, there's a few that will make, be on your radar right off the bat with the big names like Aaron Donald, DeForest Buckner, which, he's a big one. He'll move around on the line. But yeah, defensive tackles usually they don't get a whole ton of points. So there's just a few that'll do real well that you'll need to target, like Jonathan Allen, and he's real young.
Very
Fletcher
solid
Cox.
guy. You can just plug him right in there and just kind of forget about it.
I think people on IDP are kind of going away from defensive tackle and they're just going straight.
Defensive
Like I've seen
line.
some, it'll just say D line or some will just say edge rushers, and they're kind of. It seems like they might be phasing it out, but I like the defensive tackle position. Just putting it in there, they're going to get you a few points every game. It's like you guys were saying earlier, you're filling out a whole roster. That's what I like. It's not just offense; it's all defense too.
Yeah. Well, you guys got anything else on IDP you want to throw out there? Or?
No, that's it. Try it and enjoy it.
Try it. You won't regret it, and you won't go back to team defense.
Yeah. So all the people that are always downplaying IDP and saying that it's garbage and blah blah blah, I really want to know, like, have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried
because if you haven't tried, it's like somebody saying that they hate a movie or they hate a food and they've never watched it or tried it. How do you know? Try it. You'll love it. And if you don't, then you can say, hey, I tried it. I hated it. You can't please
Which
everybody.
there's nobody like that.
No.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to this fantasy-relevant episode of the 3-Man Blitz, and we'll come at you with more content soon. The season is starting right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Texans, Chiefs coming up, college football, man, all this good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yep. So until next time, go for 3.
Go for 3.
Go for 3, baby.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Queasy at RastaLion1131, Jeremy at CheckerboardJ, and me at Jedi Quarterback.